Recording. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for your time. Today we've got Kevin Gammie from Growth Mentors. We thought we'd do something a little bit different today. There's a lot of grants going on at the moment within the digital space for small business, for innovation, for everything in between. It's something probably we haven't touched on heavily from a content perspective. So with Kevin heavily involved with the new digital grant, we thought it'd be a good opportunity to talk to you about grants in general. Kevin's received a few lately, so he's definitely practicing what he preaches, so to speak, and he's been involved with this. So we thought it'd be really fitting time to just break it down a little bit. So today's a little bit generalist, and we'll also touch on a digital grant that's coming up. But apart from that, like I said, use your chat function to chat amongst yourselves. There's a Q&A. Please use that to send any questions through. Feel free to send them as you get them. And on that note, over to you, Kev. Thanks for your time, mate.
Hey, thanks very much, Ross. I really do appreciate the opportunity to speak to yourself and your members. Look, why would you listen to me about grants? And I've got to say, a couple of years ago, I was a great cynic of anything that government did, and skeptic would be the absolute word. I would keep the government as far away as possible. That was until, and we'll get to that in a minute. But imagine that you could strategically target just a few clients and start next year with an extra $100,000 worth of revenue. To me, that would be a pretty awesome thing to do. The Small Business Digital Grant, and we will focus on that today, but you can apply what's in the Small Business Digital Grant to other grants that are run by Advanced Queensland and the Queensland Government, and right throughout the country there is a lot of different grant opportunities. I forwarded off some information to a client of mine the other day just to say, hey, here's some stuff that is available, and he did some research and hunted down and found a $5,000 grant that he didn't even have to put any money into. So it was pretty awesome for him from a client perspective. That was pretty cool. But what we want to talk about today, we want to talk about growing your business. And the secret sauce here, it's not just about getting clients who get the grant. It's about helping clients to try and get the grant, but then if they don't get it, how to keep them as a client anyway. So the digital grant, Small Business Digital Grant that the government have is a program that they have that has funding for up to a project of $20,000. We'll come to that in just a minute. But did you realise that the Queensland Government is truly supporting the growth of small business? Look, I think that they've done the sums and they've worked out that it's easier to support small business to grow and prosper rather than to see them struggle and close and do all those sort of things. Look, the numbers of 96% of small business closing, that's a load of crap. It is actually a 50-50 after 4 years rule of thumb. 35% close within the first year, and then about 15% of businesses between 1 and 4 years old will close again every single year. So by the time you add that up, 4 years in, we've got about 50% of people left. I don't want to be tossing the coin working out, is my business going to survive? And I don't know about you. I'm hoping you don't want that either. The other really shocking stat that we have is that the big business outperforms small business by $2 to every dollar of revenue per person that is employed in the business. Now, for me, that sucks, right? Small business accounting for 44% of the working population, but only for 32% of the sales of our country, or 32% of the stuff that we pay our GST on, right? So when we do the numbers, and it's almost reversed for big business, it means, imagine if Telstra halved its revenue tomorrow and the dire straits that it would be in, or any of the banks, or any other big business you can think of, right? This is why there's so many stories of small business struggling. And, you know, the governments are kind of sick and tired of it, and they want to help small business get out of that struggle street scenario and get beyond that step. And that's a really important factor for them to help small business grow and flourish. And they are dead serious about it. One of the aspects of this digital grant is freeing up the time of the business owner so they can actually have a life as well. So that's one of the critical things that they are looking at. I don't know what you've heard about grants and your interpretation. As I said, I was largely a cynic and a skeptic. The experience that we've had with the Small Business Digital Grant, with this digital grant in particular, is that somewhere between 33% and 50% actually get the grant. So I don't want you to rely on growing your business on the success of your prospect getting the grant. And I want to give you a strategy today on how you can help them get the grant, but if they don't, still be working with them and having a successful relationship with them beyond that. So let's not leave it on, they get the grant, you do some work with them, they don't get the grant, oh, it was good luck, we had to throw the dice. Because the reality is that the government's not going to fund that particular project anyway, if it's only going to get up if it relies on half of it being funded by the government. They're looking for a good return on investment out of the grant program itself. So why would you listen to me? I'm Kevin Gammie, I'm from Growth Mentors. Yep, I help small businesses grow. Typically, I help them double in size at a pace that they're looking to do so. That is my chief goal in life, is to help them do that. As I said, I was a skeptic. You know, I was doing everything to steer clear of governments, and I believe it was wasting your time if you're investing time trying to get grants, because you were never going to get them anyway. But I've never been so happy to be wrong. In the last 12 months, I've had 12 people apply for what's the Entrepreneurs Grant, a very similar style of grant to the digital grant. And I've had 12 applications put in and 12 successes. Doesn't mean it's all been a story of joy and yay. No, we've made some mistakes along the way, and I'll talk to you as we go along with that. You know, I can't promise that you're going to get every single person to do that. But what I can promise is that I had all of those 12 people ready to continue on and do work with me, whether they got the grant or whether they didn't. And that's the process that I want to show you today. Look, different grants are designed for different things. It's the government directing funding towards their strategic initiatives. And it's about helping direct the funding and helping grow sectors in the economy so that it can deliver a government agenda. Okay? The government throughout Australia, and it's not whether it's Labor or whether it's Liberal, they both have a real challenge with youth unemployment. They both have a real challenge with small business struggling. They both have a challenge with unemployment generally. And this is why so many of those initiatives under the Advanced Queensland Grant System are about having professional advice be put into small businesses to help them be firstly sustainable and then profitable and then growing. And this digital grant is really about that. So it's about identifying a grant that fits with what you deliver so that the purpose or the outcomes that you deliver are aligned to the outcomes of the desires of the government with that particular grant, and making sure that you're wording that. You know, my mum had a saying, you know, don't be too subtle, the idiots won't get it. You know, normally she was a really polite woman, but that was one of the sayings that she loved. You know, it's about targeting prospects that the government is looking to help with an initiative that they're looking to fund. Okay, so it's really important that you pay attention to what is in the grant and you look behind it about what agenda they're looking to attain from that. We do have to remember, of course, that when we're dealing with public servants, we are dealing with people where everything is black and white. Okay, they have a job to do and they can't say yes to this particular situation and no to another particular situation that looks pretty much identical. Okay, the other thing is that they have rules that they have to follow. It's black and white. It has to be a binary yes or no decision. And so we've got to remember that they're doing a difficult job. They have a single-minded focus, and that is to deliver the agenda of this particular grant program at any point in time. And they need to follow the rules. So when you're putting in your application, you need to make sure that you're addressing the concerns and the challenges that they're looking to be addressed with a program that fits the style and the guidelines of the grant, and delivers the outcomes that they're looking for. So it's really critical. And I want you to right now think about, it's not about whether my client gets a grant or not. It's about being able to continue on work with them and taking, hey, I don't have the time or I don't have the money off the table, because right now they've got an opportunity to get what they would have had to pay 100% for, where they're going to get half that money back. And with a digital grant, it is that situation where it's not an upfront payment. It is you have to do the outlay and they will get the money back. But we've got a strategy on that too. So step one, purpose and prospects. And let's talk a little bit about what this digital grant is all about. Firstly, the government is looking for growth. They're looking for scalability. They're looking to expand your business into international or regional markets. And they want to help you do that. They want to help you get into markets that you may not be in at the moment, and to get your business out there. They want to help you take your business to another level using digital applications that you may not have been able to afford without their support. Okay? They're looking to help Queensland-based businesses. So if your client's in New South Wales, unfortunately, they're not going to get the grant. If they've got a turnover in excess of $2 million, it's not going to be accepted. And if they have staff in excess of 20. Now, unfortunately here, it is a very simple rule. What they do is they count the people on your payroll. Okay, so if you have a number of part-time people or casual people, they will count them as employees. So you have to have less than 20. So they're the pretty important factors that we need to look at. As I said, it's about growing high performance or developing high performance through digital means is what we're looking for here. So you can think about that in a number of different ways. Look, the grant can be used for, for programming. It can be used for hardware. It can be used for advice and advisory services, but it's all about transferring that knowledge ultimately to the business and setting the business up to have greater reach and greater experience because of the program or project that you've helped them with. So that being said, identify your ideal client. They must fit. As I said, they have to be under $2 million. They have to have, they have to have less than 20 staff, and the owner can't be an undischarged bankrupt. They also have to be registered for GST and for BAS. I think that's about it. And they have to have their operation in Queensland. Also, the problem or outcome must fit the grant requirements. It can be about content. It can be about, developing a website and getting that right. It can be about, being more interactive and that. One of the things that they've identified is e-commerce and payment systems, as well as, strategic planning and development of different stuff as well. So it can be any of those, or specialized software. So it can be any of those different uses that your program can be for. Once you've identified the right client and you've identified a program that will fit the government requirements, you need to get on about your marketing. Now, today we have only just less than 4 weeks. I would not encourage you, or I would discourage you from going, hey, I need to create a huge, big, complex marketing campaign to try and get people in, because to try and attract, convert, get the commitment and put it in an application within 4 weeks is going to be tight. So look at who you can reach fairly quickly, very effectively, that you probably already have a relationship with. And let's face it, we don't need high volume. If we're talking about growing a business by $100,000 for January 1, the reason I say that is you've only got 4 weeks to put in the application. Then they're going to take about 8 weeks to do the analysis. I believe that this announcement is going to come out just before Christmas. You'll have a beautiful Christmas present where you'll have a handful of new clients that can start projects with you at the start of January. So as I said, we're looking for a handful of clients. We're not trying to attract the world. We're looking to attract high-value clients to do some work with you so that you can start next year on an absolutely awesome footing. And that's really would be my approach to it. I better keep up with the slides. So attract, gain commitment and submission all within 4 weeks. Okay. The next thing we've got, your program and project must fit the grant brief. So it must deliver the objectives, and their objectives are to create sustainability, to create jobs and profitability. And the digital solution that you're providing needs to be the hero. Now, I'm going to confess here, I put in an application for the digital grant a couple of rounds back and I failed to get that. I failed to get it because I didn't read the grant well enough. Okay, I looked at what I put in the other day and I went, yeah, it's a no-brainer that I wouldn't have got that, because what I was looking for was not the hero of the program that I was looking to do. And so why are they going to help me fund that? What they want to help fund is, you know, digital experience, because they are trying to help have a much greater IT presence and have stronger IT community here in Queensland. That's one of the things about being the smart state that we are trying to, that governments on both sides of the equation, both Liberal and Labor, it's not a political thing. They've decided we want Queensland to be a smart state. We want to reduce our reliance on mining, and we want to have a stronger IT and infrastructure, a stronger startup scene within this state. And so that's why it needs to fit this particular objective, that they are going to be helping your business help other businesses. So they'll have a stronger IT groundswell there for sure. And make sure that the grant, as I said, is make sure the project is the hero that is developing the growth and the reach of the business, not have it as, and by the way, we're going to use this, but we've got an awesome business going on, that they're not really worried about funding. Then you need to build your case. You need to have a compelling business case. And you need to work with your client very closely on this. Remember, our objective is for you to be working with your client whether they get the grant or not. The stronger the business case, the more likely they are to be working with you whether they get the grant or not. Okay, if you're working with clients that have been going, you know, I kind of like what you do, I think it's great, but I just don't have the time or the money right now. Hey, let's make the time right now because the government give you 50% of the money. Okay, as you're working with them, you're developing a business case, you're showing them that if they spend, you know, $20,000 with you, that potentially they're going to get a tenfold return on investment. If the government come back and say no, really, are they going to go, you know, I could have got 200 grand, but I want to walk away from that. So it is about working on a compelling business case, both for the government, but also emotionally for your client to get their commitment to this particular program. Why would the government fund a program that your client's not committed to? And that's a really important factor. And that really is the bullshit test that we've got is, I don't know if I can say that. Ross didn't react too much, so I guess I can, right?
Yeah.
You know, because the government's not going to go, oh, look, great, because you can get that for half price, you're happy to commit to it. Great, let's fund those projects. They're going, we want to fund the no-brainer projects because that's what's going to make business in Queensland really successful, both your business and your client's business. And so that's why we're doing that. The assessment process is going to cover 4 key areas. It's going to cover the impact of the technology that's been implemented into the business, how that enhances the digital capabilities of the organisation, of your client, the likelihood that that's going to deliver jobs growth. So if everything you're doing is about streamlining business and making it massively profitable for the business owner, the grant may not get up. It still could be an absolute no-brainer for your client to do this program, and I would still encourage you to work with that client to get that proposal in so that you can work with them on, this is a no-brainer, you really need to get on with it. But the likelihood of them getting that, if it's going to cut jobs or if it's just going to make you a whole lot more money or make your client a whole lot more money, then it may not be as effective at getting the grant as others. However, they have also said, if you're in the e-commerce space, that they are really trying to promote that e-commerce thing, both on attracting customers into e-commerce, but also on the payment system side of stuff. And then the final thing is value for money. And here's where the business case has to stand up at 100%. It's not going to be value for money if the business case only stands up if your client's paying 50 cents in the dollar, right? They're going to go, yeah, look, that's not such a great return on investment for us. We're going to say no to that. And the likelihood then of your client continuing on if they don't get the grant is going to be pretty low anyway. So I want you to think about those key things: impact of the technology that you're going to help them implement, enhancing their digital capabilities, the likelihood of jobs growth, and value for money. They're the really important steps there. Make it easy for them to complete. Okay, so I've created a template around this in the grants that I use, and I actually custom fill in 95% of it, I've got to be honest, before I then give it to my client. I work with my client on making sure that the answers are a true and accurate reflection of what they're looking for and everything else. But then we make sure that we've got a compelling story for the government. We make sure that, you know, this is holding together, and it, you know, it actually makes sense. It kind of is a no-brainer. Let's do that. Okay. So if you don't do that, it can be that. Look, I've even, I've had 12 out of 12 in the last 12 months. That includes a couple of people who were in one of the rounds stuffing around, started filling out the application half an hour before it was due to be in. These applications close off at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Why you close off a computer application at 5 p.m? No idea. But hey, I'm not a public servant, so maybe there's a logical reason behind that. They do close off at 5 p.m. and they literally shut the system off at 5 p.m. Not at 1 minute past 5, at 5 p.m. So make sure that you've done that. I actually these days either sit physically with my client as they do it, or I'm on the phone as they're cutting and pasting stuff into the application. It's a really simple application for both the digital grant and for the entrepreneurs grant as well. You know, it literally takes them 10 minutes to cut and paste the information in. In reality, formulating all of this stuff will probably take a day out of your life, and it could be worth $10,000 to your client. So it should be a no-brainer to get them to work with you to do that. Okay? If they're not prepared to invest a day of their life in potentially getting $10,000 towards that project and then the return on investment that they could get from delivering that project, the commitment of your client is pretty low, and their likelihood of working with you probably isn't there anyway. Okay, that's one of the commitments you want to have to make sure that your prospect is doing that submission. I ask all my guys, my prospects, to give me their transaction receipt when they've hit submit. Right? And if I don't have them the day before the grant's due, I'm on the phone to them. I'm having a chat with them. I'm making sure that they're putting in this application. Are you serious about it? Right? It's one of the questions I ask them. Yeah, I am. I've just been really busy. So, hey, it's closing off at 5 o'clock today. Do you need me to come out and help you do that? And I make sure that I have no other bookings on that day. And if I've got to run around to 3 or 4 different clients and help them put that in, that's what we do. I've also had other programs in the past where I've invited a whole lot of prospects to come into my office, and as a team, they've all signed onto Wi-Fi and they've submitted grants together. You know, try and make it a little bit fun for everyone, and have a bit of, give them a beer or a glass of wine as they're filling it out, and make it a bit of a party. Maybe 9 o'clock's a bit too early to start that, but hey, it's up to you. You can do what you like, okay? So make it really easy for it. That's why I provide a template, and I've actually got a template that you can download. I've got 2 things for you to download at the end of this if you'd like. We've got a cheat sheet so that you can actually fill out, hey, do I fit the requirements, and do my projects fit the requirements, and do my clients fit the requirements? So you can do that, in about 30 seconds. And then we've got we've created a Word template out of the application form. Okay, so we're going to let you download that, absolutely free of charge, just to say thanks for coming along today. So you've got them to actually do the submission, and yeah, it's high five and let's all get excited, but I've got to be honest, we're not there yet, because between now, when they submit it and they're really excited about this project right now, and when they're going to hear about it, we've got an 8-week gap. 8 weeks is a long time for people to get really, was that really worth it? Do I really want to do that? Do I think that I can really put that time and effort into this? Is this still the direction that I want to take the business? There's a lot of different questions that can come up in 8 weeks. So keep them focused. Make sure that they are committed to doing the project that you're talking about. Okay? Stay in touch. Keep them occupied. Make sure that you're working with them and talking to them during that particular time. That toolkit, if you want to write down bit.ly digital grant toolkit, we've made it really simple. We just called it what it was. So bit.ly/digital grant toolkit, and you can do that. But imagine starting next year, knowing in January 1 that you got $100,000 worth of extra business. That could be from just 5 clients. Look, not all your clients may want $20,000 grants. You may have some at, $5,000. It has to be a minimum of $2,000 project, but it can be up to 20. This is excluding GST. And so I want you to think about how much easier next year gets when you start the year with a number of clients that are brand new, haven't worked with you before. You've got a pipeline full of work so that you can still continue to do your regular marketing and bring on the other clients, but without the stress that potentially you have today. How much easier is life going to be? How much better is life going to be? And thanks to the government, because as I said, it is there. As a bonus, I want to talk about what happens if they miss out. I want you to go back to your goal. Your goal ultimately is to have those clients at the start of the year, whether they get the grant or not. Because at the end of the day, the money's still coming from them. It just means that they don't get the money from the government. And if your project stacks up to be an absolute no-brainer, you should be able to work with them towards it being a no-brainer to start the project. I do have a more detailed series that I'm about to release, and if you'd like to find out more about that, which will go into how you can help lift that probability of them working with you, even if they miss out on the grant. Remember, only 30 to 50% of applicants get this grant. So you don't want to be doing all the work to attract people, to get them engaged with you, for them to miss out on the grant and go, hey, it would have been nice, but yeah, let's wait and see. Because if they don't get the grant this round, by putting in the exact same application, they're not going to get the grant next round either. So you want to make sure that you have a plan that has them committed to doing this project by the end of that waiting period. And that really is the secret sauce to making sure that you can start that year with that extra $100,000. Once again, if you want to download that cheat sheet to help you identify, is this a good prospect? Is this a good project? Do they qualify? That's there. Along with that, we've also, we'll send you as well that templated application form so that you can work on that, you can work on the story, you can make sure you can do that. One of the challenges with the application form isn't that it's long and arduous, it's actually that it's really short. Mark Twain said, hey, I'm going to write you a long letter because I didn't have time to write you a short letter, right? To compact everything into a short space and to tell a story takes a lot more effort and energy than it does to just bombard someone with a whole lot of information. The government, the people who are trying to do the assessment of these grants got sick and tired of being bombarded with lengthy business cases and said, hey, we're going to give you 200 words to let us know why this is a great project. 200 words. And with that, they need to be able to assess whether this is something that they're going to back or something they won't. Okay? Now, the greatest pitch in the history of movies was the movie Twins, right? And literally the guy sat down opposite the Fox Studios or whatever studios it was executive. He sat down and said, just imagine this. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito, twins. And he got the money. So it doesn't take a long time to get the money, right? But you have to think about the impact of the pitch that you're going to have. In the workshop, we're going to go into detail on all the different areas that we've touched on today, and we're going to help you build your business case. We're going to help you build your marketing strategy. We're going to help you build that strategy post-application and acceptance, not acceptance, whatever you call that, so that by the time that time comes around, it is a no-brainer for your client to actually continue on with that project with you. Can I guarantee they'll continue on with you? No, but I can give you the tools and the strategies to help maximize the potential there. So, questions. So back to you, Ross. Were there any questions?
Not that's come through, but everyone use your Q&A down there if you do have any direct questions. And we're just using this as an example, and obviously Kevin's talking with clients, but if you've got a business and you want to go through it, it's the same thing. So just remember, this is for your clients, for yourself. Any questions, please send them through. Now's your chance.
I said the same program that we've talked about here with the digital, and I've tried to give you a bit more of that background information behind the digital grant, believing that people in this industry would be probably more likely to do that. Other grants that are similar but broader would be the Entrepreneurs Grant. For that, the extra overlying qualification factor need is that the business must be under 4 years old. This can be used, I've seen this particular grant used for developing websites, for creating social media strategies, for developing software, and for a host of other reasons. Okay, it can't be used to employ staff. It can't be used for the business of business, so it can't be used for ongoing stuff. Okay, it needs to be this is used on strategy and the implementation of a particular program. It can be used for hardware that is going to take the business forward, but it needs to be a pretty strong business case for that.
Yeah, and that might be an area for some of our listeners too. If you're in the consulting space, or you're in a vendor space, or part of that area, this might be an opportunity to get your product out there a bit deeper and start to grow some of your accounts and I suppose the capabilities and digital capabilities within some of your clients.
Yeah, strategy development and plans absolutely are funded under the grant. Okay, so that's the main criteria. So are there any questions there, Ross?
No, not that I can see. I'm actually very comprehensive, I think, that one. I've got a much better picture. Like if anyone wants to give us an indication, is this something that might be of interest to go for this grant, and would you like some more assistance, or can we arrange further assistance to help you go through the process a bit more closely?
Unless it's a bit weird that I can't see the responses, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's all good. No, they haven't said anything, but we'll obviously send through this link, and we'll send a copy of your presentation. And then, yeah, we can flick that out to everyone that's registered and attended today as well.
Excellent. No, that'd be fantastic. If there is if you do have any questions or you'd like to reach out, please, you can find me all over the place. I'm pretty easy to find. If you go to Growth Mentors, you can get contact details. If you're part of Brisbane Small Business, a Facebook group Brisbane Small Business. I set that up 4 years ago. There's 5,500 small business owners involved in that. If you're a larger business and you'd like some support on how you could help small business, I'd be more than happy to sit down and have a chat.
Great. No, that's awesome. I think we'll send all this out. We'll send a recording of this as well. Everyone, we'll look at doing some more content like this. It's just something different and hopefully give you some more knowledge in areas you may not have had before. Look, on that note, Kev, thank you so much for your time. We'll keep talking. We'll look at the next round of activity. But look, thanks everyone. I hope you got something out of today, and we look forward to seeing you again and to Kevin's next piece with us.
That's great. Thanks very much, Ross. Thanks for your time.
Thanks everyone. Bye. Have a good day.